Hello, hello, my lovely, beautiful Geminis. Welcome to your weekly reading for March 11th through March 24th. We are going to go ahead and get started placing your cards for the next 2 weeks. And oh my goodness. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, listen, okay, I tell y'all, I shuffle these cards, okay, like crazy. I'm not even joking. I spend like 10 minutes in between readings shuffling cards. So, if we get repeat cards, it is because things are going specifically a certain way. Despite my efforts of shuffling and trying to get fresh stuff, sometimes stuff just comes out. Similarly between different readings. So, you know, the last couple readings have had similar cards, similar themes, showing up in different ways, of course, for different people. And that's one thing that I really like about tarot is that, you know, you can even get the same cards, but depending on how you are reading them, they can all have slightly different meanings and applications for different people. So, with that being said, Gemini, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with Monday the 11th on week 1 here, you have the Justice card. Let's bring it closer so you can see the beautiful colors. Now, Gemini, the Justice card. This is about, yes, justice. So some of you could very well be dealing with some legal or judicial things going on within your life. For most of you, however, though, this is about evaluating the balance within your life. This is about bringing right to wrong, rewriting the balance so that way you can make sure that you are approaching things with the attention that they deserve. So this could be, you know, shifting the energy that you are putting into something. So if you've been putting a lot of unbalanced energy towards work and not enough towards your home, then this could be you rebalancing that energy, taking a little bit away from how much you're putting in towards your work and choosing to reinvest it back into your home so that you can have a good balance and make sure that you are taking care of the things that need taken care of. Now, with this Justice card, with this feeling of balance that we are dealing with, it moves on further into Tuesday, your very next day here, with the Three of Swords in reverse. So, the Three of Swords in reverse is about healing, moving on from painful experiences in your past. So this very well could be you with the Justice card. This could be you choosing to reinvest this energy, to stop thinking so much about what went wrong and starting to think about how you can learn from this, how to move forward with this wisdom within your life so that you can make different choices. And where to invest your energy for healing. So for some of you, this could be understanding, having understanding and compassion for yourself. That you are going through these stages of healing and to be gentle with yourself, especially with that Justice card. You know, if you're putting too much into trying to be productive so soon after a painful experience, then you could be very well doing yourself more harm than good. You know, they tell us to rest after surgeries or things like that for a reason. And it's because our body needs time to rest and heal. And for a lot of you, it may not necessarily be a physical injury that you're healing from. It very well could be an emotional injury. And just like you would a physical injury, you need to allow yourself time to heal from this emotional injury with the same care and attentiveness that you would give to yourself for a physical injury. You know, you wouldn't sit there and make yourself feel bad for not walking when you have a broken foot. You'd be sitting there and having compassion for yourself that at this time you have to make accommodations in order to, you know, heal and move forward so that you can get back to the things that you want to do. So, Three of Swords in reverse after the Justice card, reevaluating, healing, giving yourself space and understanding you need time and healing and compassion first and foremost to move forward with this healing that you're going through. Moving on to Wednesday, you have the Nine of Cups in reverse. So yeah, if you're coming from the Taurus reading, you see a lot of familiar cards here. And one of that is this Nine of Cups cards here. this Nine of Cups in reverse to me says that whatever you're going through at this time, Gemini, you are trying to figure out how to put back into yourself again. You're trying to figure out how you are going to keep filling up your cup. What are the things that bring you joy, bring you fulfillment, bring you happiness? And how can you allow more of these things into your life through your actions? So the Nine of Cups in reverse, Gemini, at this time you may feel very worn out. You may feel very drained emotionally, drained physically. And so you're trying to find out where this leak is coming from. You're trying to find out where you can put back into yourself. But it's very hard when you feel as though you're directionless, when you feel as though things aren't working out the way that you want, you know, and especially healing after that, healing after this adverse experience, you know, you may find that very well with that Nine of Cups in reverse, you have no energy to give into something new, to give into this new option. Healing is not a easy process. It's not straightforward and streamlined. You know, we don't wake up one morning and find that we've magically healed. It takes a lot of time, and sometimes we can have, you know, good days where we feel really put together and really on it, and then bad days where we feel like we kind of backslide a little bit. And that Nine of Cups in reverse feels a bit like backsliding in a way. It feels as though you were expecting these accommodations or these things that you've been doing for yourself to heal. It feels to me as though you're wondering how come it's not working yet. So Gemini, I would tell you to give this thing more time. Give yourself more time and grace. Understand things don't happen on a very clear timeline. You know, as we said, have grace. Understand that if you do feel as though you're backsliding, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the process of moving through and healing from experiences. So have grace for yourself along the way. Thursday here, Gemini, you move to the Two of Swords. So this speaks about a conflict. This speaks about being pulled equally into two different directions. So Gemini, this could be that opposing energy of wanting to be productive but not having the energy to, of wanting to, you know, build something but not necessarily having the physical capabilities just yet. This feels very much like that anxious, stuck kind of feeling, as though you are sitting here, you're trying to heal, you're figuring out where to put in things logically within your mind, where to put energy, where to take energy. And the Two of Swords kind of makes me feel as though you are anxious about trying to figure out, okay, where's the magic button, where's the secret sauce where, you know, this exchange of energy happens where I can get back to the things that I was doing before. Alrighty, Gemini, moving on, we get to the Queen of Swords in reverse. So Gemini, I feel as though this Queen of Swords energy could represent you at this time. And actually, speaking of swords here, you actually have the King of Swords in reverse for Tuesday the following week. So you actually have the King and the Queen, two divine counterparts. With both of these, you know, court cards, the King and the Queen, with these cards both showing up in the reverse, I feel like these are both you. It's different aspects of yourself that you are showing up with, but I feel as though they are kind of speaking on the same or similar energy in the same way. So, with this Queen of Swords in reverse on Friday for week 1, Gemini, I feel like things are feeling very directionless. I feel like there are so many things that you want to be doing that you would rather be doing than sitting here and sifting through this energy. That Nine of Cups in reverse 2 days prior, you know, it is definitely a drained energy. And so I feel like that Queen of Swords in reverse on Friday is you feeling very drained. You feeling as though you don't know what to do to fix this problem. You don't know what to do to alleviate your stress or your overexertion, your exhaustion. And so trying to figure out a way forward, I feel like you're kind of blind to where you want to be going in the first place, what you want to be doing. And I feel like you're kind of reaching in the dark is kind of what I'm seeing here, is that you're reaching out in the dark. You can't really find a solution that makes you happy, that makes you feel like this is the right choice to be making. Moving on to your next card here, Gemini. On Saturday, you have the Knight of Cups in reverse. This card carries with it a little bit, I feel like this is kind of more of that exhaustion from that Nine of Cups in reverse here. Specifically, this is a lack of that direction. Similar in the same way of the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is about logical direction, but the Knight of Cups is about emotional direction. So you may feel lost on what the steps to your happiness is. I feel like what's happening here is that your heart has been hurt in the past. You've dealt with painful experiences in your past, and you're trying to process and move through this pain, and you don't necessarily know the steps. You don't necessarily know how. And the Knight of Cups is, I feel like, you acknowledging the discomfort, acknowledging the pain, acknowledging the stress that you've been going through, and struggling to cope with it. I feel like part of you wants to contain it, wants to try to hide the emotional exhaustion that you've been feeling, but people can tell when you are tired. People can tell when you've been putting in and it's not necessarily your best work. And so this Knight of Cups feels like a bit of a frustration of not being able to contain your emotions. I feel like I'm almost getting that you want to hide it, that you want to kind of hide away this discomfort so that, you can deal with it privately where nobody can see it. And I totally get that. So I will say, when we do move on to week 2 here, Gemini, week 2, it seems to have a little bit more positive breakthrough for you. So try not to get discouraged too much by try not to get discouraged too much by this Knight of Cups in reverse. Things will be changing, things will be moving, and you don't have to have all the answers right away. I feel like a part of you, especially with that Queen of Swords in reverse previously, I feel like a part of you really wants to have all the right answers. Part of you expects with your mind and your intellect that you can be smart enough to, move through and figure out what it is that you're feeling and to deal with your emotions. But your emotions are not a logic problem. Your emotions are not something that you can out logic here, Gemini. It's something that you actually have to face head on. It's something that you have to process. You have to give yourself space. And I do see you giving yourself space in a way. You're giving yourself space to feel the emotion, but you're not necessarily giving yourself space to have compassion for it being there in the first place. And that's part of giving yourself space. I feel like I don't feel like here that you're villainizing your emotions. I feel like you are, acknowledging them, but also still like shaming yourself for having them in a way. So that's just kind of what I'm getting. We'll keep going and we'll see where that takes us, I guess. I will say, me personally, I am a Gemini, and right now I am very tired. I definitely have been feeling the strain of things being very tough. So, my fellow Geminis, I get you. I'm here with you. I'm going through it too. So, anyway. Let's move on to Sunday here. You have the Temperance card in reverse for Sunday, week 1. Now, this one is kind of it's almost the opposite energy of the Justice card. Now, the Justice card is about things becoming balanced. Temperance is it's not about balance per se, because sometimes you have to have unbalance. It's more about discernment, knowing when to put in more, knowing when to shift the balance so that you can work on things, because we can't always be balanced. Sometimes in order to handle problems, we have to unbalance things a little bit. Sometimes we have to require more of ourselves to get through particularly tricky times. And so the Temperance card in reverse is, things being unbalanced, this is also, as we said, it's about discernment. So understanding when you need to put in more or when you need to take more out. So with Temperance, this could be things, upsetting the balance between these different aspects. It could be something outside of your control that's upsetting this balance, or it could be you upsetting this control for a specific purpose, upsetting this balance for a reason. This also can sometimes mean that we need to let something go. We need to, when you look at this, you see these circles, these orbs here on this scale, in a sense, in a way. With it being upside down, you have to be able to release the weight. You have to be able to let things go sometimes and not find yourself so concerned with the weighing, the balancing. Sometimes you have to let something go, even if it wasn't something that you were proud of, even if it wasn't something that, was, or even if it was something that you were proud of, even if it was something that once brought you happiness or joy, sometimes you have to let it go so that you can move on to better and brighter things. Moving on to week 2 here, Gemini, on Monday, starting off, you have the Hanged Woman in the upright. This card is about finding yourself stuck between two different places. And with your reading so far being mostly about emotional healing, I feel like you're finding yourself stuck in between this space of wanting to move forward and finding yourself still stuck in the past. You may feel as though you're wondering if you've done all this work for nothing. So you may have been doing a lot of internal work lately, and you're still feeling as though things aren't being taken care of. You're like trying to figure out, I've been doing all this work towards bettering myself and taking care of my emotions, so why am I still struggling? Why am I still in this place of, not being fulfilled or not understanding? When we are moving into a new energy, when we're trying to move into a new reality, or we're trying to move past something, it's almost like this sensation of being in a cocoon or a chrysalis with the Hanged Woman here. This is like that breath or that pause that we take where we have the opportunity or the time to look back and reflect on our choices. And it's, that breath before the expansion. It's the moment before the shift. And so I just want to encourage you that if you have been making changes towards bettering yourself, if you have been working through and processing all these things, understand that your change is not going to happen overnight. And the Hanged Woman is you specifically in this place before this change. It's you, you have been inside this chrysalis, you've been inside this cocoon. Your body internally has shifted and things have changed. You just haven't gotten to the point of bringing it externally out of this chrysalis yet. You haven't yet had the chance to spread your wings and really start to build up strength flying and being out there with it yet. So don't get discouraged. Understand that, you have to expand, and then things will expand around you moving forward. And, we have to find ourselves in this space before we make our next step, before we do our upgrade. So I do feel like things are going to get better and change for you here. Things are going to shift. And I even see, in the last little bit of this week here, things kind of shifting a little bit. So don't get discouraged and understand that growth doesn't happen overnight. And you're in this final stage. You will see this growth soon. Moving on to Tuesday here, you have the King of Swords in reverse, Gemini. So we kind of touched on this a little bit when we discussed the Queen of Swords in reverse for week 1. King of Swords in reverse week 2. This is again more of that confusion. So if you find yourself stuck in this chrysalis or this growth stage, again, this is you, struggling to decide or figure out what your next step moving forward is, what your next choice or decision that you need to make is. And it's definitely a feeling of directionless, feeling like you're trying to find your sense of purpose again, and you feel very disconnected from your decisions that brought you here in the first place. So the King of Swords, who am I? Who do I want to be? What steps do I need to take to embody this person? And is this really something that is going to be attainable for me? Am I giving myself unrealistic expectations, expecting perfection of myself as an imperfect being? The King of Swords can mean needing to let go, needing to allow something to move organically without forcing our will or our logic on it. And again, swords, we can't expect others to follow our same line of logic. We can't expect ourselves to stay within the same line of logic. And logic does not trump our emotions. We have to allow ourselves to feel. We have to allow ourselves to move through things emotionally without trying to intellectualize them. You can't outthink your feelings. And so the King of Swords in reverse, you can't outthink your feelings. No amount of brain work is going to solve or fix this problem for you. On Wednesday, you move to the Devil card here, Gemini. And so this, to me, is you breaking free from the expectation of your mental mind. Breaking free from the expectations towards yourself, your thought patterns, the way that you have been thinking or approaching things. It's almost like the Devil card comes in and says, there's another way. There's a different way to do things. I almost feel like this Devil card is kind of that piece that allows you to see where you have been holding yourself back and where you have maybe been causing yourself more harm than good. You know, if you've been trying to push yourself to achieve something unattainable, this could be you realizing that you're doing so is causing more harm than good in the long run. So the Devil card, freeing yourself from your mind, freeing yourself from your expectations and the things that are keeping you stuck where you currently are. On Thursday here, you have the Four of Wands in reverse. So for some of you, what is holding you back and keeping you stuck, other than your thoughts, other than your mental patterns, could very well be within your home environment. The Four of Wands is about home. It's also about marriage. So for those of you, there very well could be some of you that are stuck in a marriage that is not working for you or something that is not serving you at home. This could also be how you are taking care of your home and how you are taking care of yourself within your home space. So some of you may be realizing that you need to do some cleaning, rearranging, some demoing or fixes in order to be able to enjoy or appreciate your home space. Some of you, it could be, I almost feel like with that Devil card and that freeing, it's freeing yourself from the expectations of what your home is supposed to look like. Changing what it is, you know, we can't all have HGTV, beautiful brochure quality homes, right? So changing your expectation about what your home is supposed to look and feel like, and trying to get back in touch with what you want this space to look like, what you want your home to feel like. Do you want it to feel comfortable? Do you want it to feel clean and clutter-free? Or do you like having your eclectic mix of different decorations that help you feel at home, being surrounded by things that you love? So, you know, choosing for yourself, taking a look at what you want and not what other people would want or what you would think other people would expect from you. Friday here, Gemini, you move to the Empress. And another major arcana card here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 major arcana cards total, and this one's another one of them, the Empress here. The Empress is about understanding your power, understanding you have the ability to create at any point. This is about, not just about creation, but it's also about like understanding your wealth and your abundance. When you look at the Empress card here, you can see that she has fruit. She has a pomegranate and some bananas and like a pineapple hat, I guess, in this specific card. I'll bring it close so you can see. She's got like a little pineapple hat. The fruit is meant to represent, you know, the things that are fruiting. The effort that she has put into within her life to grow has received a harvest and an abundance from her work, her energy. This is someone who is within their divine feminine. So you could be someone who is within your divine feminine energy here. specifically with creating a new life for yourself, creating something from nothing. So working with the pieces of what you have available to you and not thinking about the things that you are lacking. This is someone who can take a little bit and turn it into a lot. And so Gemini, especially after that Four of Wands card with your house and your home, the Empress energy is you understanding the power and your ability to influence the things around you to have them work for you the way that you want them to. Saturday here, Gemini, you move to the Seven of Cups in reverse, and this is about stepping away from the decision-making process. You don't have to have it figured out all at once. You don't have to have it all figured out in a day. When we look at this card, Gemini, we have all of these cups filled with different, treats or different things within them. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And it's meant to represent when we are in the decision-making process. We can have so many options available to us about directions that we're supposed to go, and we can be so overwhelmed with trying to make the right decision, trying to, figure out whether or not this decision is going to have future unintended consequences, that we become so paralyzed with the decision-making process that we don't know what to do. And the Seven of Cups in reverse is you taking a step away from this decision-making process. Having so many of these options available to you can be really overwhelming. And so I feel like taking a step back from making a decision is actually good for you at this time, because it's going to prevent you from making a decision that maybe you would regret if you were looking at it with a clearer picture at a different time. So Gemini, don't make any rash or fast decisions with this. Make sure that you are taking your time to evaluate, and if it gets overwhelming making these decisions, take a step back. Take a break from the responsibility of it a little bit so that you can come back to it later with a clear mind and a clear point of view. And Gemini, lastly, you end with the Magician card in reverse. Now let's talk about this real quick. The Magician is related to the planet Mercury, and Mercury is the planet that rules Gemini. So, in a way, this card kind of represents the things that are ruling you as a person, Gemini. The Magician, in a greater sense of it, though, is about your influence to the world around you. It's taking one thing and being able to alchemize it and turn it into another. So taking a loss and turning it into a win. Pivoting your point of view so that way you can see things for more than what it is. And Gemini, I feel like this card here is the answer to the problems that you have been going through, to this pain and experience that has been happening for you. The Magician card is about looking at things differently, seeing things from a different perspective, and seeing something for more than what it actually is, whether it's seeing you for more than what you feel you currently are, seeing the promise of an opportunity, even when it's presented as like a small thing, but seeing the bigger impact this opportunity could have. And, having influence. The Magician, as we said, it's alchemy. It's being able to turn something into something else. Being able to take dirt and turn it into gold. So, shifting something from what it was and redefining it and pushing it into something new. And so I feel like the Magician is the energy that you need to tap into at this time. See yourself for the potential and the greater opportunity than what you have been giving yourself. Because, Gemini, you are way more powerful than what you give yourself credit for. You have way more influence over your life and your situation and your abilities than what you are currently giving yourself credit for. So, give yourself some credit, give yourself some time. Understand that you have magic and influence over everything in your life. And start to really think about, the way that you can choose to make changes and influence your reality at this time. So anyway, Gemini, I hope that made sense. I am really tired on Mondays. I'm not gonna lie. It was a very long weekend, so I'm very sorry if this Reading seemed a little bit more lower energy. You know, I'm trying to respect my energy as well at this time too. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, Gemini. I hope that this reading was able to help you in some way. Thank you for being here once again, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.